I spent 5 years in a marriage with Cooper Sinclair that was built on resentment. He was forced to marry me because of our families. So, he got his revenge the only way he knew how. Fast cars, endless partying, and a permanent place on every gossip blog in the country. He made me a joke. Tonight, at the Sinclair family dinner, he brought another pretty, innocent-looking starlet. Just like always, waiting for me to crack, to fall apart. But not this time. This time, I wouldn't give him the satisfaction. I even complimented him on his taste. I walked into the Sinclair mansion. Cooper was standing rigid, his back to me. Grandpa Sinclair was in front of him, his cane hammering against the marble floor. You disrespectful idiot. Bringing your floozy to a family dinner? Did you even consider Penelope? The starlet, who I now knew as Janie, was already tearing up. Cooper, maybe I should just go. Cooper pulled her close, a cold smirk on his face. Don't be ridiculous. You're practically family already. Grandpa Sinclair was furious. He raised his cane, ready to strike. I forced a smile and stepped forward, grabbing his arm. Grandpa, calm down. Cooper's expression flickered, his eyes studying me. He was probably thrown by how composed I seemed. Normally, I would have been screaming, clawing, doing everything to get Janie out of there. His gaze lingered on my smile for a beat. His jaw tightened. Mrs. Sinclair, how generous of you. The sarcasm dripped from his words, but I refused to analyze it. I acted like I didn't hear it. I helped Grandpa Sinclair into the dining room. At the table, Cooper and Janie were all over each other, ignoring Grandpa Sinclair's dark looks. Whatever dish I reached for, he'd snatch it and give it to Janie. I slammed my chopsticks down on the table. Cooper didn't even flinch. He just kept going. Before Grandpa Sinclair could explode, I jumped up. Grandpa, Grandma's probably awake. She's waiting for you in the garden. Once the old man was gone, I returned to my seat. The other guests were still there. As the eldest grandson's wife, I had to maintain appearances. Cooper glanced at me, his eyes narrowed. He toyed with his lighter, saying nothing, but the air around him was heavy, tense. I kept quiet too. Janie batted her eyelashes and whined. Do you mind that I'm here, Penelope? Ignore her, Cooper said, not even looking at me. My hands clenched. I looked at Janie. She's prettier than the others you brought. Cooper's eyes swept over my face, his voice flat. She's definitely prettier than Mrs. Sinclair. Janie giggled, trying to hide the triumph in her eyes. Penelope is known as a great beauty in Hong Kong. I can't compare. Cooper didn't say anything. He just lit a cigarette. The smoke burned my nostrils. I took a bite of my food, trying to soothe the ache in my throat. Just then, Janie said something sweet and innocent. Oh no, I think I left my lingerie back at the hotel last night. Cooper chuckled. You little scatterbrain. I swallowed the food, a sudden wave of nausea washing over me. I stood up, ignoring their shocked faces, and ran to the bathroom. I stared blankly at my reflection. The face in the mirror used to be vibrant and healthy, but now it was gaunt and pale. I couldn't compete with a fresh-faced starlet. My phone buzzed. It was my best friend, Taylor Gray, the best surgeon in New York City. Penelope, why didn't you tell me? If I hadn't seen your chart today while on duty, what good would it have done? I interrupted. It would only cause more pain. She was silent for a moment, her voice choked with tears. Does he know about your condition? I nodded, then realized she couldn't see me. I whispered, he thinks it's just another one of my little games. Taylor exploded. I heard he brought some girl to a family dinner. How much longer is he going to torture you? What happened back then? Her voice trailed off, realizing she shouldn't have brought it up. I sniffled. It's okay, Taylor. I hung up and stood there for a moment. I turned on the faucet, washing the blood down the drain, and walked out. Down the hall, Cooper was leaning against the wall, his perfect face half hidden in shadow. I tried to walk past him, but he grabbed my wrist. Going home already? The party's over. I stopped, not looking at him. Thank you for asking. I was feeling so sick that I hadn't realized how late it was. Cooper must have taken over hosting. I should thank him. That's what I always did. He stiffened. You're avoiding me? Are you that disgusted? I turned my head and saw the annoyance in his eyes. I just wasn't feeling well. I tried to pull away, but he held on tighter. His voice was sharp, with a hint of anger. Mrs. Sinclair, are you faking it again? I was speechless. I told him I was sick, and he didn't believe me. What could I say? I decided to make a joke. Maybe I'm pregnant. Surprise. Cooper went still. After a long silence, he said, is this a game to you? Last time I checked, it's been a long time since Mr. and Mrs. Sinclair have fulfilled their obligations. He stepped closer, his breath tickling my ear. Penelope, nobody's going to baby you. He shoved me hard. I stumbled back and slammed against the wall. By the time I recovered, he had already grabbed Janie, who was waiting at the end of the hall. I stood there numbly until the driver asked, ma'am, the car's ready. Are we going to the cemetery now? Are we waiting for Mr. Sinclair? The driver hesitated. He had obviously seen Cooper leave with Janie. I snapped out of it. No, let's go. I had just left the cemetery after visiting my parents. A news alert popped up on my phone. Sinclair heir gets into brawl on set to defend Janie's honor. Before I could read it, a text came from Cooper's mother. Get to the hospital, now. I stared at the phone, then stuffed it in my purse and got back in the car. Taylor sent me a message. Your husband's at my hospital. 18 stitches in his head. Who was he trying to protect this time? I stared at the words, lost in thought. Cooper rarely acted impulsively. The last time he had gotten into a fight was before we were married. I remembered when Taylor took me to a bar when I was 18. I was harassed by some drunk guy. Taylor had stepped outside to take a call. It almost escalated. Then Cooper smashed a bottle over the guy's head. His face was a mask of fury. She's under my protection. You touch her. You answer to me. The drunk guy didn't recognize the Sinclair heir. He actually fought back. Cooper nearly tore the bar apart that night. Grandpa Sinclair gave him a beating when we got home. I treated his wounds, horrified by the welts on his back. I couldn't stop crying. Cooper had laughed. Don't cry. Just marry me. I got angry and jabbed his back with the cotton swab. Ow, ow. I'm sorry, princess. I was just joking. He winced in pain. I didn't say anything. Neither did he. Finally, he whispered, Penelope, I'll always protect you. That was a long time ago. Now, at 28, Cooper was protecting a different woman every week. It certainly wouldn't be Penelope. I arrived at the hospital room. Cooper's mother was already there, her face like a thundercloud. I walked over and said politely, Mother Sinclair. She forced a smile, then slapped me hard across the face. Is this how you take care of your husband? My head snapped to the side. Her ring cut my cheek. That's enough. With that, she stormed off with her security guards. A bead of blood dripped down my face. I wiped it away away and went into the room. Cooper was on his phone, in a video call with Janie. She was crying. Don't ever do something like that again. What would I do if something happened to you? You've already said that a million times, Cooper said, sounding impatient. But he was trying to keep calm. Okay, I'm sorry. I know I messed up. I froze. I bumped into a chair, making a noise. Hang up. Cooper glanced at me, bored. He leaned back against the headboard, his voice lazy. Took you long enough. If something actually happened, you'd only be left to bury your husband. I didn't answer. I just stood there, silent. The playfulness faded from his face. He seemed uncomfortable with my silence. He turned away, looking out the window. Since that day, our relationship had been filled with fighting, tears, and resentment. There had been very little harmony. I studied him. His face was perfect, even with the bandage on his head. I reached out to touch his forehead. He slapped my hand away. Cooper looked up, annoyed. His eyes landed on the cut on my cheek, and he froze. He reached out and touched it. She did this? He was talking about his mother, of course. My heart ached. I forced a smile. Yeah, are you going to get revenge for me? He stared at me, his eyes searching. If his mother had ever said a harsh word to me, Cooper would have flown into a rage. He would have torn the Sinclair mansion apart. But now, he looked down and smirked. She didn't hit you hard enough. This little bit of pain isn't nearly enough for the pain you've caused me. I went silent again. After a long pause, I said, maybe we should get a divorce. Cooper didn't go home after he left the hospital. He didn't even go back to the Sinclair mansion. Penelope, how much longer are you and Cooper going to fight? Fix this. Now. Cooper's mother was on the phone, tearing me down. I was watching the news. The headline video was playing the story about Cooper and Janie. With the support of the Sinclair heir, Janie's career was skyrocketing. She had just won the Best Actress award a few days before. The news was that Cooper had gone to Switzerland to see the snow with Janie. The internet was buzzing. The Sinclair heir is so in love with Janie. I heard that the Sinclairs hate his wife and have been wanting a divorce for a while. Why haven't they done it yet? Yeah, she's been holding on to him since they were kids. Someone start a petition to let him go so he can marry our Janie. Miles and miles away, just to see her smile. He wasn't even in the country. His mother wanted me to fix things. I lowered my eyes. I couldn't exactly chase him to Switzerland. Besides, my suggestion at the hospital hadn't been well received. When I had suggested it, Cooper had stopped moving. He had stared at me. Penelope, there's no one more heartless than you. Maybe it was anger, but the bandage on his head had started to bleed. I opened my mouth to say something, but I thought better of it. I had thought he'd be happy if I suggested a divorce. I'll call a doctor. He didn't say anything. The room was silent. Finally, Janie called, saying she was in trouble. Cooper jumped up and ran out the door. I walked onto the balcony, a bitter taste in my mouth. I can't do it. I was tired of pretending. I didn't want to play this game anymore. Besides, Cooper never listened to me. I couldn't control him. You can't do it? Cooper's mother sounded stunned for a moment. Then her voice came back, shaky. I've already lost Willow. Do you want to lose my last son too? I didn't say anything. Penelope, haven't we been good enough to you? His mother sobbed. You've been married for 5 years. When have you ever cared about Cooper? Is that why he's always out partying? You really are heartless. I bit my lip, listening to her rant. I looked down at the ground, 34 floors. So high. The people below looked tiny, like my world, trapped in a corner, unable to escape or avoid.